Thank you. Here in Harambe, we like to say twin day, that just means let's go. So, Jumbo, everybody.
Back there, friends.
Your doors are closed and you're all clear.
Sante Sonamorden, as we like to say here in Harambe, twin day. Everyone.
And now you're all clear.
And now we like to say here in Harambe, twin day. And twin day means, let's go. Jumbo friends, my name is Jacob. I'm going to be your safari guide.
It seems like that trip is also one of our special trips that's double checking this. Jumbo friends, welcome aboard.
Goodbyes are just too sad and far too vital.
It says hands, arms, feet, and legs. Those doors are going to be closing.
I'll let you know next time.
Please, all right, the doors are closing. Sante Sonamorden, is everybody ready to go? All right, well, as we say here in Harambe, twin day, and that means, let's go. Now, Jumbo, everybody. My name is Rio, and I'm going to be your safari guide out there today. Now, we're going to be seeing lots of really cool animals out there. And if you take a look above your head, you might get a sneak peek at some of those animals we might be seeing. Now, there are just a couple things to get us started as we head down into the reserve. Please make sure everybody is remaining seated at all times, whether we're moving or stopped, and make sure to keep those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside at all times. And we are going to be seeing lots of wild animals out there, so we do ask that you do not call out to them or make any noises at them. I can tell you right now that they're not going to be responding to any of those sounds that you make. Now, we are heading right into the Little Atiri Forest to start out here, and it looks like we already have some pretty good luck. Now, coming up over here on your left-hand side, on the hill, there are some bongos up here. Now, bongos are nicknamed the ghosts of the forest, and that's because they're rarely seen, so this is a pretty cool sight that we have. And over there on your right-hand side, towards the back, I do see a couple of okapis out there. Now, the okapis have those black and white striped legs, and they're going to be using those legs to help them camouflage with the light coming down from the trees. Although they do kind of look like a zebra with those legs, they're actually related to the giraffes. That's because they have a really long tongue. They're going to be using that tongue to help them wrap around branches in the trees. Now, over here on your left-hand side, we are approaching a watering hole, and I do see a black rhinoceros up there on the top of the hill. Let's see if we can get a bit closer to him. Now, this black rhinoceros grows to be about 3,000 pounds. And you might notice that he's the only one up there. That's because they're pretty territorial animals, so you're never really going to see more than one or two of them up there at a time. It's also a bit harder to see from back here now, but they have a very pointed snout, and they're going to be using that pointed snout to help them pick leaves off of the trees. Now, unfortunately, he is poached for those horns. It's said that they contain medicinal values, but those horns are actually made out of keratin. And keratin is the same exact stuff as our hair and fingernails, so they really have no value to them at all. Ooh, now over here on your left-hand side, there is a tall bird over there. That's called a saddle-billed stork. And if you look at the yellow shape on its bill, that's where it gets its name from, it kind of looks like a saddle. Now, they stand at about 5 feet tall, which is taller than I am. And they also have a wingspan of about 9 feet wide. And if you take a look above your head, it's the same exact size as that canopy going across. Now, we are leaving the forest, and we're going to head down into the Safi River next. Now, the Safi River is home to many of the more aquatic animals out here, so keep your eyes peeled on the surface of the water. We'll see if we can see anything down here. Actually, take a look over there on your right-hand side. There does look to be a Nile hippopotamus down there. Now, that Nile hippo grows to be about 5,500 pounds. They are going to be spending the majority of their day in the water. They'll even sleep in the water too. They're able to hold their breath for about 8 minutes at a time. And when they're sleeping, their mind will subconsciously bring them up to take a breath, and then they'll sink right back down to the bottom. Now, these hippos are pretty good swimmers, but they actually don't like to swim. Instead, they like to sink all the way down to the bottom. They like to walk along the water floor. Now, also over here on your left-hand side, there are some white birds out here. Now, these birds are called pinch-backed pelicans. They get their name because during mating season, their skin will start to turn a pinkish color. It's kind of like a blush. Now, they're also colonial nesters. That means that they'll get into groups of anywhere between 10 to 500 of them, and they create a small community of nests. Looks like there is another Nile hippo down there on your left-hand side.
There, look up.
And if you look right next to it, right in front of it, there does look to be a baby down there.
Wait, where's the baby? Oh, I see.
Right next to the baby, to the Nile hippopotamus. That baby was actually just born today. Now over here on your left-hand side, there is a Nile crocodile down there. Now those Nile crocodiles grow to be about 16 feet long. They can also jump about 16 feet in front of them too. And they grow to be about 500 pounds. They're able to eat half of that body weight in one sitting. Now they're known as opportunistic eaters, so if they have the opportunity to eat, then they're going to do so. Otherwise, they're actually able to go months at a time without eating. Now just because they can though, it doesn't necessarily mean that they want to. It's kind of like us humans, we are able to go a couple days without eating. Doesn't really mean that we want to though. Now we have left the river way behind us now. We're going to be heading down into my favorite part of the reserve, and that's the savannah. Now the savannah is home to many of the more famous animals out here, like the giraffes, the zebras, the cheetahs, the elephants, and many more. Now the savannah is also known as the crossroads of Africa. And that's because it stretches for hundreds of miles. Many of these animals out here will be using the savannah in their migrations from one side of Africa to the other. Actually, it looks like right here on your right-hand side, we already have some pretty good luck. Now, these are zebras. They're called Hartman's Mountain Zebras. And the way I can tell that they are Hartman's Mountain Zebras is to take a look at their neck. Now, there is a fold of skin hanging down on their neck, and that fold of skin is called a dewlap, and those are the only zebras to have that. They're going to be using that dewlap to help them regulate their body temperature a bit. Now, if you're ever wondering if zebras are black with white stripes or white with black stripes, just take a look at their nose. That's going to give you all the answers. Those zebras out there have a black nose, so they're all black with white stripes. Now take a look over here on your left-hand side. Let's get a bit closer to them. But lying down in the den over there, there are some African wild dogs. Now those are the best hunters out here. They're known to chase their prey for hours and hours until their prey literally just falls down from exhaustion. I do need everybody to remain seated though at all times, please. Thank you. Now they have a success rate of about 80%, which is very high. Now also over here on your left-hand side, kind of tucked behind the trees here, there are some sable antelope, and they're all sitting looking in a different direction right now. That's to help them see if there's any oncoming predators. And they also have those horns that are kind of angled backwards. They're going to be using those horns to help defend themselves in case anybody jumps on their back. Also here on your left-hand side, this does look to be like a smaller herd of wildebeests. Now I say it's a smaller herd, and that's because their herds will grow to be about 1,000 of them at a time. They'll also migrate with around 1.5 million of them at a time. Now they are pretty friendly animals, so they don't mind if other animals like the zebras tag along in those migrations. Now we're also passing by some termite mounds here. These termite mounds are made out of dirt, saliva, and dung. They're really great scratching posts for many of the bigger animals out here. Now the savannah is a very balanced ecosystem. Many of these taller animals out here, like the giraffes, are going to be eating the leaves on the trees. It keeps them all trimmed down, and that's going to bring in light to the bottom for all of the grazers out here. The grazers are going to be eating the grass, and that acts as a natural lawnmower for the area. Now over here on your right-hand side, I do see some smaller brownish antelope. Now those are called springbok. Now springbok get their name because they're known to literally spring about 10 feet into the air from a complete standstill. They're also the third fastest animal in the world. They're able to get up to speeds of around 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now when a group of them spring together into the air, that is called pronking. That is a defense mechanism. They use that to help confuse their predators who are trying to chase them. Now also take a look over here on your right hand side. There is a Maasai giraffe right there. Now that Maasai giraffe grows to be about 16 feet tall. They also have that really long tongue that the okapi did. It grows to be about 1.5 feet long. Also over there on your right hand side with those giant horns out there, those are Ankoli cattle. Now those horns grow to be about 5 feet long. They look pretty big and heavy, but they're actually very lightweight. Now they circulate their blood through those horns. It helps cool them down and regulate their body temperature. Now actually take a look here on your left hand side. We are pretty up close to this Maasai giraffe right here. Now the way to tell that these are Maasai giraffes are to take a look at their spots. Now those spots are a bit smaller and a bit more splotchy compared to other types of giraffes. The spot patterns are all completely unique to themselves too. It's kind of like a fingerprint on a human. No two spot patterns are really ever going to be the exact same. Those giraffes also only sleep for about 30 minutes of the day. And they're going to break that up into 1 to 2 minute naps, and when they take those naps, they are going to be standing up. And they are just spending the majority of their day eating. Now it looks like on either side here, we're passing by some fallen down trees. That's usually a pretty good sign that elephants are in the area. So keep your eyes peeled. Now they are massive, so if they're out here, it will not be hard to see them at all. Also over here on your left hand side, looks like they're in the rocks in these trees here. There are some mandrills down there. Now mandrills are the largest species of monkey. They also have the most colorful snout. And the snout's going to get even more colorful with the more excited that they get. Now take a look over here on your right hand side. Looks like there is an elephant out there. Now if you notice, he is flapping his ears right now. It's actually a sign of excitement.
Oh, remember? He couldn't cross the bridge up there.
Now that does look to be like a male elephant. That's because he's the only one out there. Now these elephants live in a matriarch society. So that means that the females tend to stick together in groups, and the males will go off by themselves. Now every once in a while you will see a bachelor herd of these elephants. It's made up of an older male and some younger males. The older male is going to be teaching the younger ones many different social interactions and how to behave with others. Now we are going to keep going. We're going to go around this bend, and we're going to go over this bridge here and see if we can find some more of these elephants out here. Now they are pretty big animals. The females grow to be about 9,000 pounds, and the males will grow to be about 13,000 pounds. They are massive. And one really cool thing that we actually did just recently discover about these elephants is that they're actually scared of the sound of bees. So farmers discovered this when they put up a beehive on their farm, and it stopped all of these elephants from coming and destroying all their crops. It was a really big problem in the area. It's very expensive, and it costs the livelihood of all of these farmers out here. But now all of these farmers will actually put up fences that are made out of beehives. They're going to put that around the crops that keeps the elephants away. And it's a pretty cool example of how humans and animals can interact and coexist in the same environment without having to hurt each other. Now it looks like I do see some more of these elephants up ahead. Let's see if we can get a bit closer to them. Now there are multiple of them out there, so I would guess that these are all females. Now these elephants also have the second longest childhood. They're second only to humans. Their babies are going to be staying with them for about 13 years or so before they go off on their own. Looks like there is some traffic up ahead. I'm going to get us a little bit closer so we can try and see those elephants out there. Now, if you notice, a lot of them out there have a lot of mud on their back. Now, their skin is very sensitive to the sun, just like ours is. So to stop them from getting sunburnt, they're going to be rolling around in that mud. And they're going to be throwing the mud up onto their back. That acts as a natural sunblock for them. Looks like there is one taking a nap out there. Now those trunks actually contain over 100,000 muscles inside of them. Now these elephants also love when it rains, so hopefully it will rain soon. They love to play in the rain. They become much more active when it's raining out. Now here on your left-hand side, there are some greater flamingos out here. And if you look at the little gray ones down there, those are babies. They're all just a couple days old right now. Now greater flamingos get their name because they're the largest species of flamingo. They also have the palest pinkish color. They're going to be getting that pinkish color about 1 to 2 years after they're born. They get it from the shrimp that they eat in the water. A group of these flamingos is called a flamboyance. And if you look at their actual island there, you might notice it is a familiar shape. It is actually a hidden Mickey. Now we're heading a bit deeper into the savannah here. This is usually home to some of the bigger animals out here, like these rhinos coming up here on your left-hand side. Now these are white rhinos. Now they're very friendly animals, unlike the black rhino that we saw earlier. Looks like there is a little baby out there. Now that baby is only about 900 pounds right now, just shy of a year old. And when he's fully grown, they'll be about 5,000 pounds. Now white rhinos, as you can tell, they're not actually white. They are a darker gray color. They're the same exact color as black rhinos. Now they get their name white rhino from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word weit, and that means wide. And if you're able to take a look at their snout is much wider, and they use that wide snout to help them graze the grass on the ground. Also, a really cool fact about those rhinos is that they can run at about 35 miles an hour. And they're also able to gallop just like horses do, so they're able to get all 4 of their legs off the ground at one time. Which is very impressive for being so big. There's also a giant mud pit there on your left-hand side. Now, rhinos do like to stay towards the mud. That's because that mud acts as a natural sunblock for them, just like the elephants. Now take a look over here on your left-hand side. Right up on the hill here towards the left corner, there are some cheetahs up there.
I see it.
Now those are the fastest animals in the world. They're able to get up to speeds of around 60 to 70 miles an hour. They're able to run the entire length of a football field in about 3 seconds. Looks like there are going to be some more of them coming up on your left-hand side here as well. Now these cheetahs are sprinters, and that means that they can't hold those speeds for very long. So they really only ever get up to those high speeds when they're trying to chase their prey. Now they do just spend the majority of the day laying around, just like you saw there. When they get up to those high speeds, it does take them about 20 minutes of rest for their heart rate to get back to normal. Now, unlike many of the bigger cats in the area, the cheetahs do most of their hunting during the daytime. Now, other bigger cats, like the lions, do sleep for about 20 hours of the day. So they're going to be waking up at nighttime and they're going to be doing all of their hunting then. Now here on your right hand side, laying down right there, that is called a bontebok. Now the bontebok have a really cool story behind them. At one point, there are only about 17 or so of them left in the world. And a farmer saw them and thought that they were really cool looking. So the farmer built a fence around them. And in doing so, that farmer actually ended up saving the entire species of the bontebok without even realizing it. They're now the only living relative to the wildebeests. Now here on your left-hand side, there are lots of holes in the ground here. They're usually made by some burrower animals. Now these animals are really good at blending in with their surroundings. So if you see them, let me know, but it doesn't look like I'm seeing any of them out there right now. They might all be in their holes. Actually, there they are. Now take a look over here on your left-hand side, right past the rocks there. Those are warthogs.
Oh, there.
Now warthogs dig these giant holes to act as a home for them, but it's also kind of like a defense mechanism. Now when they're lying down in those holes, it's very impossible to see them. Now it looks like here on your right hand side on the ground there are some eggs down there. Now those are ostrich eggs. Now those ostrich eggs weigh about 3 pounds each. And a cool fact about them is that a human adult can stand on those ostrich eggs and they will not break. That's why they're left out in the open. Alright, we are going to take one more stop here. We're going to head down into our warden's post here in Magani Glen. Now, warden's post is home to many livestock out here, so let's see if they have anything. It does look like there are some Nigerian dwarf goats out here. Now, these Nigerian dwarf goats are tiny. They only stand at about 2 feet tall. They're also very playful animals. They like to show dominance by jumping on top of one another. They're also very well known for their milk. It's said to be very sweet and very nutritious. Alright everybody, it does look like we are going to be heading back into the village now. But we saw lots of really awesome animals out there. I think we had pretty good luck today. Now unfortunately, lots of the animals that we did see out there are hurting out in the wild. Lots of their homes and habitats are being destroyed, which is really sad, but there are a lot of things that you and I can do every single day to help stop this. Now one of the biggest things that we can do is to recycle. Now just by recycling your paper, you can help cut back on the number of trees that are being destroyed. Now these animals out here need to survive. Another really big thing to recycle is your electronics. Now something found in your electronics, mainly your cell phones and laptops, is a mineral called coltan. Now coltan is usually mined out there in elephant territories. So if we can start recycling this electronics, we can help to save some of those animals out there. Now if you enjoyed seeing all these animals and you want to check out some more, I invite you to head over to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. On that trail you might get an up-close view of the okapi and the hippos that we saw earlier. You might also see some gorillas, some zebras, and my personal favorite, which are the meerkats. everybody. My name is Rio, and it has been a pleasure being your safari guide today. Now, if you have any further questions about any of these animals that we saw today, feel free to come talk to me up at the front. I'll be happy to answer any of them. Now, here in Harambe, though, we don't like to say goodbye. Saying goodbye is much too sad, much too final. So I'm going to leave you with Kwaharini. And Kwaharini means to go well. So everybody go well, go wild, have a great rest of your day. On your right-hand side, watch those hands, arms, feet, and legs. Those doors are going to be opening. And Kwaharini, everybody, have a great day out there.